Hello and welcome to the Gothic Unicorn. I'm going to start by telling you this video is going to be a lot different than planned. I started filming footage for this video before the last one was up, and I had a plan of, I think there should have been 3 videos by this point. It hasn't happened. What has happened is, since the first week in September, I have been ill. I have had a couple of days here and there when I have felt better, but I have generally felt pretty damn rubbish. And every time I think I'm getting better, I get worse instead. I have had days of coughing, which made me postpone filming, because there's nothing worse than listening to somebody coughing on a video, especially if you use any kind of headphones. You really don't want somebody coughing in your ears then. So it's going to be a bit out of sync. But you can use some of the original footage. Some of the footage I scrapped because coughing, and I'm going to try and put something together so at least I can sort of tie up the bits of the spooky season stuff that I've done. The doll's house hasn't been decorated this year. The centrepiece is in the room. That's it. Nothing else has made it. Everything else at this point, which is the 30th of October, is sitting on my desk. And my desk is a complete and utter tip. So, that said, let's get to it. Now, I started off with this video with this set of wooden pieces. They are shaped wooden pieces, probably intended for papercraft. You could put them onto a card. They wouldn't look too odd. But I thought that they were actually a good size for doll's house stuff. And I could see quite a bit of use in them. I still am, really disappointed in this one. This is the gravestone with its RIR. Surely it should be RIP. Rest in peace, or pieces, is a far more usual term, but I have managed to do something with one of these. But as I say, I could see a lot of potential in these. Now, I bought them from the Works in the UK, but I'm sure they're similar are available from craft stores online. Just need to check the size. Hobbycraft in the UK did a similar set that had got a similar number of variety, a similar number of shapes. You can tell I'm not really with it, can't you? But it was a much bigger set, so they were far too big for what I wanted. They probably have worked really well for 1/6 scale, but I don't do 1/6 scale. Now I'm starting off with this piece here, if I can get it out of the little container, and that is the little cobweb, little spider's web. I have been making tiered trays to go on my table decor pieces for a few months now, and if you've been watching my videos, you'll probably have seen it, even if it's just in one of my shorts where I've made a couple of different variations. This time I decided I wanted something different for spooky season, and I didn't know what, but I saw these and I figured I could do something with this, and that's what I did. Obviously, to make a tiered tray, I'm going to need 2 layers, and if I use 2 at the standard size, it's not going to look the best, because tiered trays normally have a larger tray at the bottom and then smaller as you go up. So you at least want 2 and you want one smaller than the other. So what I've done is I've actually took one and I use my craft knife and I have cut it down. And all I did is I cut off the outside ring. It's not a massive size difference, but it's enough to make a difference when it goes together. Now I have had my little multi-tool out and I have drilled some holes through these two. And I've taken a toothpick and cut it down. And what I'm going to do, I'm just going to put this together because it is possible to dry fit it. I have already done so. Is I'm going to stick the one into the bottom and then I'm going to put this one over the top, and it's going to go down a little bit further than is showing there. And once I get it level, because at the moment I haven't, I'm going to have a passable tiered tray. Now I'm going to paint all this, and the reason I haven't painted it yet is I am debating what colour. I'm debating whether to go for white or to go for my very pale grey. I think I'm going to go with the very pale grey. I was leaning towards white, but while I've just been sitting here filming this, I'm sort of like grey would definitely be more Halloweenish than pure white. So I'm going to get the really pale grey paint out and I'm going to glue this together and then I'm going to paint it. Now I'm going to paint it after I've glued it so that if I've got any glue onto the bits, I can paint over it. I should be able to clean it up, and I'm only going to need a little bit of glue because they do fit together pretty damn well. I just need to make sure that I get this level because an uneven tiered tray and one that leans to the side isn't going to look brilliant, even if it would be kind of fitting within the sort of decor that I've got. It's not what I want really. I have put the spiderweb tiered tray together and I have painted it. Now it probably looks at first glance rather pale. You'll think it looks white. Now if I bring in something that is definitely white, you can hopefully see that it isn't really white anymore. Hopefully you can see the contrast between the two. You can in real life anyway, I'm just not sure how well my camera's going to pick that up. Now what I've also done, although I've not been able to finish this yet, is I've added a spider to the top. Now my little spider is made of a bead that is glued in place, and then I have stuck in place 8 pieces of beading wire. This is 28 gauge beading wire, and I'm going to trim those and shape them once the glue is set. But obviously at the moment the glue isn't set because it's still white, so I'm just waiting for that to all set up. But otherwise my little tiered tray is complete, and whether I put anything on it or whether I just leave it maybe to put some little treats on it, I actually really like how that's come out, and I'm not sure it's going to be left as an Halloween piece. Let's just put it that way. I followed up my little spider topped version with having a go at one that was metallic. I was planning to do more than one lot of table decor, and I thought that actually I could probably use a piece like this all year round. So I gave it another go and I made another one exactly the same as the first, except I painted it black and then I dry brushed it with some metallic silver paint. I like using this sort of technique to get a kind of really tarnished metal effect. You could put more silver on if you wanted to make it look completely metallic. I like it as it is, and I think it's going to fit in really, really well with the doll's house. So that was 2 little tiered trays that I've made. I did consider putting something on top of that, but I never quite figured out what. The next piece that I turned to was the word. Now, I know that these pieces of word decor are a little bit, yeah, but I think for occasions like Halloween or even Christmas, you can get away with it. Not so convinced with having some of them all year round, although I can't say anything because I have got at least one, which I'm not going into, that's sat behind me at the moment. Not suitable for work, let's put it that way. But I got a boo. Now, I did look at it up the wrong way in the first place and wondered what that was on the end. It's the exclamation. And it makes sense if you turn it the right way around. But of course, it does sort of work both ways. So I took one of those and I painted it black. But I didn't just want plain black because that would be a bit boring. So I've gone for a sparkly version. Now, for my sparkles, I'll put that over the plain one, I went with some Stickles glitter glue in burgundy. Now, I don't like glitter particularly, but I make an exception for the Stickles because the glitter doesn't generally flake off. It's really good. I don't know if they still do this colour because I've had it for more years than enough, but I've got it anyway, so I'm using it. And I thought that the red was going to go quite well because I got some red in my bits already with the flowers that I did in the pumpkin video. I made myself a little base, stand, whatever you want to call it, with a couple of pieces of cereal box board that I cut to size and then cut and stacked. Painted it black, and there we have it. My little tiny boo. It's simple, but my thought was that in a collection of pieces, it was going to look okay. On its own, it is a bit sort of sad, but hey ho. I then turned my attention to the gravestone, tombstone. Now, what I've done with this, you could just do with food packaging, cardboard, which is cut out a suitable shape and layer it up. Now this one, I have layered the wooden piece with a bit of cereal box either side. I added a base from the same strip that I cut to do the little boo decoration, and then I painted it. And my paint job on this was my sort of standard stone effect paint job, which is a black base coat, and then I used a dark grey, which I did in a stippling effect, almost dry brushing, but a bit heavier than a proper dry brushing, and then a dry brushing over the top, but more stippling again with a very pale grey, just to give it some highlights. And it's come out okay. Now you could obviously put a name on there, you could put the ubiquitous RIP, or I was thinking about producing a tiny little menu. I know it's possible to do on the computer. I was going to figure it out, and then it would have looked like it was a menu board for an Halloween party, and that would have worked quite well. It's simple, but as with all these pieces, they were designed to be part of something bigger, not individual statement pieces. So they do look a little bit near on their own. From there, I went on to the cat. And this one I haven't quite finished because I want to show you something while I'm on. But this is the cat from that set, painted black, stuck to a similar base, and it makes a little decor piece. Now I wanted to give it a shiny eyes. And I could use some little tiny gemstones, but I'm not going to. Instead, I'm going to turn once again to the burgundy stickles. Now, it took me a long time to figure these out, and I used them for many years for paper crafting. You don't use them with the nozzle. Use them with the nozzle, they blob everywhere. I don't know how else to describe it, but you get blobs. You try and do a line, you get blobs. So what I do is I use a piece of cardboard, a cocktail stick, and I transfer some out. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to attempt to go over the eye of this little chappy here with the stickles. Now, stickles is very three-dimensional when you pull it out of the bottle. It won't look like that three-dimensional once it's finished. Now, I'm not sure how this is actually going to work out, but what I've tried to do is try to fill the gap where the eyes are. And I'm going to do it both sides in the hope that it will look better for that once I'm finished. So we will just put this on like this, and I made a right mess of this. Now, the thing with the cocktail stick is you can go around and tidy it up a bit, and that is going to sink back as it dries. So now I need to put this aside and let it dry for a few hours, possibly. It may not be dry before I finish this video, but at least you get an idea. And obviously you could do it any colour you wanted. I just went with the red because I'd got them out. And again, it goes with the sort of scheme I've got going on this year. The final thing I'm going to cover in this video is just sort of pulling something together. Now, my plan with my spooky season videos was to do some removable table decor that I could store away for next year and just bring out and maybe add to if I felt like it. And I explained earlier in the year about how to do this, which is basically you make a false tabletop and then you decorate it. So I'm going to do it on a very small scale. This is the smallest of the tables that I showed in one of my previous videos, and it's designed as a wine or lamp table. It's supposed to either have a wine bucket or a lamp stood on it. I'm putting neither. Now, what I did is I found a circle of, I found a circle punch the right size. And I was quite fortunate with this one that I've got a circle punch that is almost exactly the right size. And I painted it black because this table, if it goes in my dining room, will eventually be black. You can see it's a circle of cereal box. Now, I haven't painted the edge. I probably should have done. I may go around it with a black marker just to blend it in a bit. Or I may leave it as it is. Now, that can be attached with some poster putty. I generally use tacky wax. It's like museum wax. It's a temporary adhesive. And what I've done is I have glued some ribbon over the top. Now, I bought this ribbon to do my tabletops, and it's a Hessian look. I actually bought some earlier in the year and I can't find it, so I had to buy some more. But I like it because it looks a bit sort of rough around the edges. It looks quite natural. I thought it would work really, really well with a kind of Halloween theme. It was either that or I got to go for something black, and everything I could find that was black had either got designs that were too big or it was just too sparkly, and I didn't really want that. However, I've now got a fake tabletop that I can fasten into place, but obviously I need something to sit on there. Now I could use my tiered tray. I hold this and turn it so you can see it better. That would look quite acceptable. But as of yet, I have nothing to go on my tiered tray. I could obviously dress it with my gravestone. That would look quite good, especially if I used it as a menu board. Or I could dress it with the gravestone and then put something else, maybe a little pumpkin in front. But I've always had in mind to use one of these. Now this is the floral pumpkin that I did, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to get some glue, and I've realised I haven't put it out, and I'm going to pop a little bit of glue on the bottom of my pumpkin. Actually, it's more than a little bit of glue. I put quite a bit on there. And all that I'm going to do is I'm going to stick him down in the middle of the circle. Now it'd probably be easier if I took that off of there for a moment, but there I have, to go in the corner of my room, a really simple floral decorative piece that, if I'd done everything else, would match. I'm still quite annoyed that I've been as ill as I have, but can't be helped. It does, however, mean that I've actually got something else to go in the room, which has got to be a bonus. And here we have what I actually managed to complete. It's not a lot, but it's better than nothing. I may, if I get around to it, do a little glance around the dining room video, just as a short. I don't know if I'll get to that though. It all depends on how I feel tomorrow, etc. And I'm holding him because I can't lie him down because I'm worried about the glue. But it's a few more ideas that could be used for spooky season, or indeed for a spooky house all year round. Now, I know I've glued this one on, but the same method that I use to attach the fake tabletops could be used if you prefer to move things around. You haven't got to glue stuff in place. It's just my preference. Now, I hope you've enjoyed this video, in spite of it not being what I planned. As somebody said, I've got a head start on next year. So I'm hoping that I can now get into some Creepmas crafting and maybe some other crafting without coughing all over the place. And yeah, we can resume a bit more of a normal service. If you have enjoyed this video, like, comment and subscribe. I definitely recommend that you ring the notification bell in the hope that YouTube will let you know when I put up another video. I was trying to be more regular. It's not been working. But until next time, bye.